Good evening. Can I have that microphone? Thanks. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all well tonight, and I would like to wish you a warm welcome to Netix's revolutionary event called The Smart Move. My name is Emma, and I'll be your host for this evening. I'd like to also say a big hello and a warm welcome to those of you who are joining us via our live stream as well, and we hope you enjoy all the speakers that we have lined up for you. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you to this one-of-a-kind hybrid event. Stay with us right the way through to the end, because there's a whole lot of things to unpack and to go through throughout the night. And you'll be thrilled to see what Netix is going to unleash over the next couple of hours. And first off, I'd like to run you through kind of the event flow for the evening. Tonight, we're going to be hearing from Mr. Sanjeevv Bhatia, CEO of Netix Global BV and Chairman of SB Group International. He's going to be introducing the SB Group and Netix, and to dive into industry trends and talk about the hot topics of the moment. Mr. Dustine Stanley, Director Technical and Operations Europe and Chief Technology Officer, Netix Connect AI ML Platform Global, will talk to you about how brown is the new green. Mr. Levy, he's the founder and CEO of Genesis Infrastructure and Finance. He'll be discussing funding the energy transition with Genesis. Paul Price is a business change and strategy consultant at Tridium, and he'll be talking about building a revolution. And Roger Woodward is a business change and strategy consultant who'll be looking at building management and the evolving markets and technology. And before I proceed, I'd like to inform you to please use our event hashtag, #TheSmartMove, if you're doing anything on social media tonight. That would be wonderful if you could tag us on our official channel to share your feedback, comment, and leave some valuable suggestions, because they're always very, very useful to us. Well, I wanted to keep all the surprises for the speakers, but let me take a little bit of a risk here and reveal how Netix is going to be a world leader in the BMS industry by solving the global energy crisis. Yep, that's right. I was completely surprised when I heard this, and it's a fantastic thing to be hearing. So let's get tonight underway. I'd like to give a warm welcome up to the stage, our very first speaker of the night, Mr. Sanjeevv Bhatia. He's the CEO of Netix Global BV and Chairman of SB Group International. And let's give Sanjeevv a nice big warm welcome up to the stage tonight.
Thank you very much. Mike. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you, those who are here, as well as those who are watching us live. Just a small correction, Emma, we are not a BMS company. We are into IoT and AI solutions. We do smart cities, smart districts, and smart buildings. BMS is old school. But first, before I start, let me ask a question. How many of you believe in magic? If you can raise your hand. So we have a magical group here. Honestly, this is not a trick question. I sincerely believe in magic. I believe that when you are sincere, when you are sensible, magic happens. I believe when you're patient, when you believe in a dream, when you go all out, magic happens. And magic has been happening with us all the time. For those who watched us last year, they probably know our journey. For those who haven't, you can go online and check our YouTube channel on Netix, as well as SB Group. A lot has happened again since the last 1 year. Again, I call it magic. We've got more than 400 service contracts. We've opened offices in many countries. We've got people on board in Italy. We've got people on board in Croatia. We've got people on board in Netherlands. We've got a new office in Canada. We're opening an office in the US. We've got an office in Singapore. We got people on board in Qatar. We've done some wonderful things in the last 4 or 5 months. We've handed over the Lusail Smart City Command Control Center, where we connected 14 to 15 sites. And this command control center is going to connect the whole Lusail city. So it's a huge project. It's a very important project for us. So again, magic. We opened an office. We opened our branch office of the service arm ODS into Abu Dhabi. We've expanded into Saudi with ODS. And we have very ambitious plans to take this journey forward. We've partnered with one of the reputed and largest investment groups from Europe, where Gil is here, and he'll be speaking in a while. So all these things are magic for us. And we are here to share this magic with all of you. We want to share with you what we do, how we do, and this is something which is not only for us, this is for everybody. We're actually trying to create an ecosystem where everybody is part of this ecosystem. For me, there are no competitors, honestly. People work with people, and there is a room for everybody. So, and again, these are not just words, these are promises. I mean this. I mean these words. So, but before that, let me just give you a brief introduction of who we are, for those who don't know. Under the SB group of companies, we have 4 businesses: Technoware, Netix, Accenture, ODS. Our journey started where Technoware started in 1972. We got associated with them in 2004. Technoware is a very special company with very high-end technology, specializing into vehicle lighting and emergency lighting systems. We've done some significant projects with Technoware. For example, the Dubai Metro, the Princess Noura University, the Mecca Metro, the Muscat Airport, a lot of projects in Qatar, a lot of projects on the Palm, and a lot of projects across the Middle East. In 2015, we started Accenture. It's a distribution company which represents our own brands as well as third-party brands, whatever are suitable for the region. In 2017, we started Netix. Netix, again, our very special project, which is into IoT and AI solutions. We've started with buildings, but we have very ambitious plans. We do plan to go into different verticals, different industries. So we divide our business into 3 categories: distribution, products and technology, and services. This is our global presence, which I just spoke about. The Technoware factory is in Finland. We've got our headquarters of SB Group in the Netherlands. We've got Netix headquarters in the Netherlands. We've got people in Croatia, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, as I mentioned before. We have plans to expand into Americas and Egypt and Australia. These are some of our esteemed clients, a lot of names you would know. And many of these customers or clients are repeat clients for us. I'll play a short video on Technoware. So as I was saying, Technoware is a very special company, specializing into vehicle and emergency lighting. But whenever we have had some special requirements, we've gone back to Technoware and they've designed those special lights. For example, at the Mecca Metro, the consultant from Hong Kong at Atkins wanted handrail lights, and we designed the handrail lights according to the specification required by the consultants. And we on Mecca Metro, we had around 8,000 lights. On the Princess Nora University, we had around 10,000 lights. So when it comes to special lighting, Technoware has been the first company to come up with LED lights in emergency. Technoware is the first company to come up with emergency lights without batteries, backed up by supercapacitors, a very special company. Some of the key references of Technoware: Dubai Metro, Muscat Airport, Mecca Metro, King Abdullah Financial Districts, King Abdullah Sports City, the Princess Nora, which I mentioned just now, the Cayenne Tower, the two twisted towers, one in Dubai, the other one in Saudi, and so on, many, many references. So ODS is our system integration and service arm. It's also a Netix Nova's Platinum partner. And it's into IoT, maintenance, IoT and AI-powered digital services, maintenance services, life safety and security, extra low voltage, retrofits and maintenance. So we cater to life safety, security, automation, retrofits, refurbishments. As I mentioned just now, more than 400 service contracts we have picked up this year. And this is all, most of them have been upgrading the legacy traditional BMS systems. We do complete turnkey. We have products, consultation, solution design, installation, system integration, and in the end, we do services after handover of the project. Some of our key references, some very special clients like Emar, Damac. These are very unique solutions which we have. Nobody has done this before, wherein one company has come and serviced so many different OEM products, integrated them, and brought them on a platform which is AI-enabled, ML-enabled, which Dustine will be speaking in some time. Again, Emirates Crew Accommodation, Mazaya. These are special projects with our clients with whom we've been working for 8 to 10 years, Saga International. And some of our key references, again, a lot of hotels on the Palm, a lot of hospitality projects which we've been doing, especially because both on the life safety as well as automation, we specialize and we have the licenses and we have the experiences. So we've got a lot of projects in the hospitality domain. Again, some more projects like Legoland, we did the complete security systems, Mecca Metro, Javza, Mardif, Tadal Tower is the tallest stock market in Saudi. So Accenture is a distribution company of ours. We distribute our own products as well as third-party products. Under Accenture, we have around 70 system integrators. And we've done some very significant projects like the JP Morgan Chase in Hyderabad. We're now doing the Bombay and Bangalore. These are large projects. We've done the Chennai Metro. We've done the Apple headquarters. We've done the Google. We've done the Amazons, and so on. Some of our key references in the Asia-Pacific region. Netix. So this is why we are here, to talk about Netix. So Netix, as I mentioned, is into IoT and AI solutions. We specialize and we provide you technology. And we work with our clients into that domain. Everything we know is going to be part of an IoT ecosystem as we understand. Artificial intelligence is going to become a very important part of our lives. So we specialize in property management platforms, asset management platforms, energy management platforms, facility management platforms. We've been very busy upgrading the traditional legacy BMS systems into smart systems. We focus on smart cities. We're working with a lot of smart city projects across the globe. We do provide building automation, but it's called Intelligent Integrated Building Automation System. It's not a locked system, it's an open source system. We also have smart meters and smart thermostats, and in the end, we're going to talk about the Netix Sustainability Finance Solutions. So I would divide our services into 4 types. We upgrade the legacy systems. This is an esteemed bank where we were asked right in the middle of COVID to bring all the data onto the cloud. And there were no drawings. These were very old buildings. There were no drawings, there were no passwords, there were no passcodes. Our team managed to solve the issues and bring all the data over Ethernet onto the cloud. Again, enterprise solutions, typically before you would have 14 different brands, 14 different PCs. We actually integrate and bring all of them onto a central command center. Again, Al Wasl, very old buildings, 40 to 50 years old, probably older. The client did not want to have data over GSM. We actually created a RF network for them across 50 square kilometers in Dubai. Right to repair. This is a very interesting concept. I spoke about it last year. Saga, as I mentioned, we've been maintaining their towers, and there was wear and tear. These were 20-year-old buildings, and so we went back to the client and said that we need to change some controllers, and the client said to us that I have to raise an RFP, I have to go for a tender. The products were all obsolete by the OEM, and all the other OEMs came in and said, we can't do anything, we've got to take it off and put a new system. Everybody was in the range of 1.6 to 2 million dirhams. We did the job for 500,000 dirhams with 3 years warranty. Now, how did we do that? Again, our system, which is backed up by AI, ML, we do predictive maintenance, we do predictive analysis, preventive analysis, we have machine learning, we know the life of the asset, we check the behavior, and from there, from these algorithms, we have our, let's say, study and outcomes. So we knew that we can make it work. So we call it right to repair. So we changed the network, we changed the front end, we only replaced what was not working. And from there on, we've been doing a lot of projects for Saga. Right, this is, as I said, a very special project. This is what I call magic, where we started with the Mac. First time, a single developer gives us all the projects, and we were ambitious enough to go to MR and tell them. And they were open enough to accept us and change the pattern. And we did a good job. And MR actually gave us a dedicated office right close to Burj Khalifa and in the downtown area, said, put your dedicated team. And from this project, the world changed for us. Because, number one, 60 or 70 service contracts of MR were replaced by one. Number two, number of operators were removed and replaced by probably 60, 70 operators were removed and replaced by 5 or 6 people from our side. Only because of the visibility of the platform which was created. And I always say, if you have a good client, you deliver better in the form of services, in the form of products, because you're as good as your client. And if the client sticks with you, then you've done a good job. So we're proud to say that we did a good job. MR kept adding more projects and more buildings into our portfolio, and we kept doing a good job. And we took this success to the rest of the world. And we have many projects under either discussions, finalizations, or execution. So we are always thankful for such clients who help us grow better. Amazon is also a very interesting story. We started doing Amazon projects in Asia Pacific. That relationship extended to the Middle East. Then the Middle East relationship extended to Europe with CBRE, who are maintaining all the Amazon projects across the globe. We went to CBRE in Europe and said, don't give us everything. Just tell us where you need us, where do you have a problem. And we got involved with 59 projects of Amazon in Germany and France. And this helped us build our relationship with CBRE and Amazon. Some of key projects, everybody knows, Saudi is booming. There's a lot of projects out there. We're doing a lot of projects out in Saudi. So I'll like to call upon Dustine, who's our CTO, to speak about the technology, the product, and why brown is the new green. You want this?
Hello. Thank you, Sanjeev. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen who are present here, and hello to everyone who are watching us live. And firstly, I would like to thank everyone for being here and being part of this journey with us. Like Sanjeev said, I'm going to talk about sustainability. That is why, hence the tagline, brown is the new green. Now, it's a very interesting tagline. One of my colleagues, we were in Saudi, and we were explaining what is required, what is necessary to bring in change to the existing infrastructure, to bring in efficiency. And he told the tagline, brown is the new green, and it caught to our minds, right? It's very interesting, right? I strongly believe each and everyone in this room understand the importance of an efficient tomorrow, an energy efficient tomorrow, a sustainable tomorrow. And we do take our steps, our necessary methods to bring in a sustainable environment. It's not only to manage the energy crisis, but also to bring a better future for the next generation. So we are using up a lot of resources. What are we leaving behind, right? So the main intention behind this is to create a better tomorrow, right? What are we doing about it? Now, most of the greenfield projects, the new projects, we ensure, the consultants and the designers, they ensure that they specify all the necessary steps and initiative towards an efficient energy and efficient asset operations. Our biggest challenge here is what are we doing about our existing infrastructure, the old legacy buildings. How are we ensuring that the operations are sustainable, right? We are taking a lot of steps, definitely, but is that sufficient enough, right? Today, now I would say that these buildings, when they were constructed, when they were designed, they were focused on the technology, and they have considered the ambient weather conditions. They have considered the occupancy rates at that time of construction. But over a period of time, the ambient weather has definitely changed, right? The occupancy has changed. The assets have deteriorated. However, the system is still functioning on a sequence of operation and design which is based on the old technology. Now, how do we overcome that? Right. Thanks to the technology such as artificial intelligence, IoT, machine learning, which helps us give visibility to the assets and how the assets perform. To talk about artificial intelligence, I hope everybody in this room knows what Netflix is, right? Today, we watch movies from our comfort of our home. But the more important fact is, you open Netflix, the Netflix gives you a list of movies which says it's recommended for you. Now, what Netflix has done is, it has understood your behavior, it's understood what sort of movies you watch, what sort of actors you like, what sort of category you watch, it's musical, it's drama, it's comedy, and the database, it analyzes and tells you that these are your recommended movies. To go one step further, recently I saw a feature in Netflix called as Surprise Me. So you go ahead and scroll, you're not able to decide which movie to watch, you press that, it will tell you which movie you can watch, right? So that's the power of data analysis. Another example, my friend Paul Price, who spoke about this a couple of weeks ago in a webinar, there's an app called Shazam. That's magic, that app. It listens to a few seconds of tune and tells you who sang it, what is the details, when was the music released. It's again data, right? That's the power of data and data analytics today. If that can be, data analytics and artificial intelligence has gone into different versatile markets, be it media, entertainment, real estate, industrial, whatever it is, right? Now, how do we utilize it? How do we apply technology to the right place is a challenge. Now, if this can be done, data analysis could be done, we could do the same thing in buildings, get data from our assets, from our machines, the AHUs, the FAHUs, the motors, the pumps. We could get data, analyze it, and then the machine would tell that when it is ready for maintenance. So you are not working on an old system, but you have changed yourself towards the current condition of the asset and the current condition of your environment, right? I'm speaking this with belief. It's not because I've studied, I've read books about artificial intelligence, or not because I have a degree in artificial intelligence and technology. It's because I have lived and experienced this in my previous role. I used to work for a company called Imar Community Management, and thanks to the technology-driven team and the amazing leadership over there who believed and invested in digital innovations and digital transformation, right? We have used technologies such as IoT and data acquisition methods, collecting data from 150 plus 200 buildings and an infrastructure which is close to 20,000 plus villas, bringing in data to a central location, onboarding it onto an intelligent platform, analyzing the data, and giving you reports, and suggesting what has to be done to maintain an asset of yours. Now, what are the benefits which we have gained out of it? I would like to explain a few, 3 to 4 benefits, which will help you understand how phenomenal this technology can bring in a change in the energy efficiency and sustainability. Comparing to a traditional BMS system, right, wherein an operator sits and he monitors an alarm if it is configured correctly. And the alarm comes in, he identifies, he calls the technician goes, he does his trial and testing and troubleshooting, identifies a most probable method for resolution, he implements it, sometimes he records it, sometimes he doesn't, right? Imagine the change today, assets from these 35,000 plus equipments is onboarded onto a platform, and these assets tell by themselves what is going wrong with it, right? Not when it gets wrong, but predictively it tells what is wrong with the asset. And that information the platform takes and does a detailed fault detection and diagnostics, right? And comes up with a possible cause and possible suggestion of resolution, which is pushed as a work order to the relevant technician so he knows what he's supposed to do, right? Now, this whole process, right, this end-to-end process happens within a couple of hours. And what has this brought in? It has saved you, it has optimized your man hours. It has saved the asset from a critical breakdown. So you reduce your critical breakdowns by more than 50 to 60%. It has reduced unnecessary repair costs, right? So all of this contribute ultimately to a sustainable environment and an energy efficient asset, right? Another benefit which I would say is gaining visibility. When you have visibility, you have control on your operations, right? The challenge which we had initially was, how do you know how the assets are performing in this geographically distributed area in Dubai? Buildings in Deira, in Imar South, in Dubai Marina, in downtown. So everything is at different locations. How do you understand your assets are performing? How do you know how well it is being maintained? What is the energy consumption in these areas? Right? When this project was launched in the initial stages of 2018, we connected 2 buildings to start with. And in day 1, in the first day, we had close to 1,500 plus alarms coming in from the site. So we thought there were a lot of false alarms over here. We went into investigation. We identified there were simple mistakes, I would say, right? For example, high temperature alarms coming from a lot of FCUs. We identified the temperature sensors were not placed in the right position. The FCU is feeding one location and the sensor is kept in the corridor or somewhere. Now, the FCU is trying to achieve a higher temperature set point, right? And it is wasting energy for years and years together. Now imagine this change happened in a year, the volume of buildings and how much energy saving and how much cost saving the company can bring in. Another benefit, I would say, based on the visibility and understanding, the platform is able to do 40 to 50% of the visual checks, I would say, that a human needs to go and attend, right? How is the controller working? Is there a breakdown in the control? How is your temperature sensor working? With a very basic data analytic, I wouldn't say machine learning itself, a very basic data analytic logic, understanding if there are peaks in the trend, if there is no peaks in the trend, how well it is complementing the set point. It can identify if the sensor is working normally or abnormally. So this gives you a 95% of accuracy and gives you a reset rate. So these identifications today, where we had people monitoring these BMS systems across 30, 35 communities, at least 1 or 2 technicians, BMS technicians, is replaced by 5 subject matter experts sitting in a command control center. It is working more efficiently. You have a track of all the assets, all the information, and we use the information to bring in better analytics. I would say the first requirement over here is awareness, right? How to use your technology and where to apply, right? A lot of people in this world today don't realize that this platform, this AI, the ML, if it is applied right, it can bring in a better tomorrow, a better efficient operation. I believe in this journey, right? I was mentored by one of the best in Imar, and I was lucky enough that Sanjeevv and me, we share the same passion and share the same thought process. That is the reason we have joined hands to take this technology global. Now, in the last 6-7 months, I have, like he said, it has helped us open offices in Italy, in Canada, in the US, in India, where people have started learning and started understanding how this, how it can benefit, right? There are use cases. Today, like last week, we closed this project in the Lusail city. We have a command control center monitoring the infrastructure to start off with of the smart city in Lusail. Tomorrow, that is going to be enhanced and upgraded to all those buildings which is coming in the Lusail city. To give back to the society, to bring in awareness, we have planned to partner with one of the esteemed schools in the Middle East, in the UAE, and one of the oldest schools in the UAE, to train and provide a short-term certification course for the higher secondary school students so that tomorrow, when they come to the corporate world, they come with the thought process of how to save energy and how to stay sustainable, right? I can go on and on about this. I'm very passionate about this, but I would like to stop here and bring Sanjeevv back to the stage to explain to you how we are changing ourselves to bring the change to this world. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Dustine. So we have some more magic for you, and here it is.
Living and working. It's so much more comfortable, so much greener than it used to be, in ways we couldn't even have imagined 20 years ago. But it's not going fast enough. We have to step it up. So, you're invited. Join us. Join the smart movement. Netix leads that movement to create a better world. Use digital disruption so people, technology, and nature start working as one in perfect harmony. One big step towards a bright future for life on this planet. We create the technology that brings cities, districts, and buildings online. We breathe life into the dream of smart living and working. How we do that? We evolve, adapt, like nature. It's just two letters, but it's a world of difference. AI and IoT technology provide us with the digital excellence to create smart building management solutions. Solutions that bring our lives into balance with the rest of nature. So, join us. What are you waiting for?
So today we become from Netix control to Netix.ai. And again, this is magical for us. I would like to call upon Gil, who's the CEO of Genesis Infrastructure and Finance, our partner, with whom we are so proud to be associated with. And besides 200 people out here, we have 83,000 people online with us.
So thanks for having us, Sanjeevv. Personal thank you to yourselves, the Netix team that we met yesterday. It's been, for us, a short journey and acquaintance, but I think a friendship for life and a partnership. Hello to everyone here tonight, and also the viewers at home, including my family. Incredible use of technology. So I'll start off by telling you a very short story that I think everyone here in the room can relate to. Netix, property owners, asset managers, facilities managers, and so on. So about 6-7 years ago, went to meet with the board of a very large infrastructure company that owns, amongst other things, one of the largest ports in the UK. They have 4,000 trucks flying through there every day. Unfortunately, they had even fatalities, super tankers, ships, cars, workmen, and goods being shipped to the UK, flying through in and out. And I remember seeing a map or a satellite image of the actual port, which is the size of a sort of medium-sized town in the area. And instantly I sort of said to the CEO and the board members, this is absolutely incredible, because I think there's a vision here that we can put together as a company, as an operating company. We can help you to property manage your assets here, to create operational efficiencies with the work that you do here on site, cut costs, generate more net income for the company, help you protect your staff and the 4,000 trucks moving around here, attached digital RFID tags to your workmen, save their lives. We could save on your energy consumption. We could put solar on the roof. We can do so many things. Had a similar conversation with another airport in the UK. And with all that passion and excitement and the team pitching to this board, we closed the deal. But the moral of the story, I mean, I asked them, we can do all of this for you. This is probably worth, 30, 40 million pounds of investment, which would save you absolutely millions, less than 10 million, but per annum, which to the bottom line makes an enormous difference. And of course, the answer back came, thanks, would like to buy some lights. So that's really the journey that we're on. 15 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, having those kind of conversations, the world is obviously in a different place. We have the opportunity to move the world dramatically and rapidly from consuming a lot of energy, which we know has a shortage, natural and traditional sources of energy or fuel, and moving and transitioning them to new sources of clean energy, including renewable energy, but also using our building infrastructure to improve what's in place right now. So, we've been on a journey ourselves as well. I spent the last sort of 20 years in banking and investment, fund management, and one of the challenges that I had was to find an operating partner that we could invest, that they could deliver projects professionally, as opposed to two specialists in a garage, or I kid you not, people that turn up to meetings with a light in their hands or some kind of piece of equipment. And you're right, Sanjeevv, in saying BMS is the world of old, but the world still operates with BMSs still today. So that's really the opportunity. And also in our journey, we're looking for best-in-class partners, even though we're technology agnostic. So in searching for that right partner as a delivery party, as an energy services company or an ESCO, or a developer in the renewable space, we operate in both, we thought the best way forward would be to actually combine all of these pieces together into what is essentially one model. So Genesis was set up essentially to plug a gap in the market, which we all know there's an abundance of capital available, financing for these projects. And to just be very clear, we are not a fund. What we are is a group of family offices with wealth creation, built up over 30 years, where we invest our capital, and in some cases alongside institutional capital, to fund these types of projects. We also develop these projects, and that could mean business development, it could mean design, audit, financial calculations, presentations to boards to speak in the language of property owners one day, or port operators in another day. So port operator wants to know the savings or the effect on our net income is the equivalent of generating maybe 4,000 new passengers on their cruise liners on the terminals. Or as a property owner, it would mean renting this many square foot or square meters. So that's the development side. On the renewable side, obviously developing sites to have planning and grid connections. And then we go on and deliver the actual projects. So everything is vertically integrated in one house. We have in-house engineers, an in-house delivery team, an in-house financial team. So we're able one day to sit at the board level, and then the next day go and speak with facilities managers. And then we have the procurement ability to source whatever we need in terms of best-in-class equipment. And then once the projects are set up, delivered, or the renewable projects are operational, we operate and maintain them. So just a little bit about Genesis as a group. It's a group of sister companies. that operate across multiple sectors within the energy, lighting, and electrical goods space. We're also moving into furniture, because again, that also sits within the ecosystem of property owners, build to rent, and so on. The group in its entirety revenues over £200 million per annum. We have a very strong balance sheet, as I mentioned, a group of family offices that with our own capital can invest and fund projects. And we employ directly over 800 employees, and in some cases, some of these businesses have been built over 30 years. So to keep things simple, what does it actually mean in practice? We seek out best-in-class partners like Netix, and I gave you the example of that story with the port. That vision was maybe 7 years ago, and what you're hearing tonight is actually that is possible today. It's been made possible in the last year or two. Lots of case studies that Sanjeevv shared with us. We've got case studies of our own, and that is the future, the integration of proven technologies, best-in-class advancement in technology itself, like AI, like smart tech, like IoT, combined with the ability of boots on the ground to deliver it and funding to actually fund these activities. So, of course, a client can...
Okay, so here's the question. For your $1 million, which lifetime strategy is most likely to deliver a guaranteed or close to guaranteed 1 million return? Is it A, building and selling a company? You build it up, you build a product and a service, you sell it off, you form a company and you retire. Is it B, build your property empire, put your hard-earned cash into property and you live on the income, or you sell off the assets? Is it C, investing in leading-edge technologies and stocks and shares, you build up a portfolio? Or is it D, sorry, you save $100 every month for 50 years? There's your $1 million questions. Which one is most likely to give you a guaranteed 1 million return? Of course, they all can. Every single one of those options could get there. But the one that's going to surprise you is D. Because actually, if you save $100 a month from the age of 20 to the age of 70, and you manage to get a return of 9.8%, which is the average return on a Standard & Poor's investment since 1926, then actually you will end up investing $60,000 over that time frame. But with the law of compounding, what you'll end up with in your savings account is $1.3 million. And that's not doing anything spectacular. It's taking relatively minimal risk, but it's being diligent, it's believing in the process, and it's doing that over a long period of time. So that's compounding, the power to exponentially accelerate results using time. But how does all of this relate to today? Well, let me tell you a little bit about Tritium, which is my company. We are, as one of our major US customers told me recently, probably one of the best kept secrets in the building controls industry. We've been around since the mid-1990s. We've been slowly, consistently developing a product called Niagara that integrates building control systems together. But I think it's probably best explained if I just throw in a quick video to help you understand what we do.
Every machine generates and transmits data. It's like they're talking all the time. The problem is they all speak a different language. To really make use of all that information, machines need to communicate to each other and to you. Machines talking to machines is the defining characteristic of any system of systems. Like a building, for example. In a building, you want airflow and temperature control systems from different makers talking to each other in the interest of making occupants comfortable and preventing energy waste. These goals are even better served when energy metering, lighting, backup power, fire and smoke detection, and access control are brought into the loop, and you don't want to leave people out of the conversation. Building operators, occupants, CFOs, and even the systems engineers and technicians who design the building want to know it's performing as intended. Tritium was founded in 1995 to orchestrate conversations between machines and their stakeholders. It soon shipped its first release of Niagara software and Jace hardware. And now, a few decades later, Tritium is approaching the milestone of 1 million Niagara instances deployed worldwide. Niagara connects and controls nearly any device and translates millions of pieces of data coming from systems. In fact, Niagara converts all that data and helps you visualize it on any screen you're connected to. From buildings to factories to cities and beyond. The Niagara framework connects devices and systems wherever they're found and helps you manage and optimize their performance. No matter what kind of device is connected, from older legacy systems to the most recent machines on the floor. The Niagara framework is a truly open platform. It's stable, intuitive, and gives developers a unified environment to build on. In fact, Niagara developers have built and built and built, creating a huge community of people, machines, and companies with thousands of applications and endless possibilities. The result? Better energy management, operational excellence, enhanced security, optimized labor, cost avoidance, increased savings, and end-to-end efficiency for some of the biggest names in business and those who want to be. Niagara is now on the map. It's globally recognized software with proven staying power. And this success is thanks to our manufacturing partners that introduced their own Jace brands and ported Niagara to new hardware devices. And it's due to our systems integration partners that have leveraged our open distribution model to deploy Niagara software in all their projects. And it's a testament to our developer partners that continue to build upon the Niagara platform, making it better for specific use cases. And of course, to our facility managers and engineers that log into their Niagara workbench every day to monitor and manage their properties and processes. The whole Niagara community put us on the road to 1 million. We want to put your projects on the map, and thank you for being a part of the Niagara community. Visit Tritium.com.
We actually shipped our 1 millionth instance last year. And with over 30,000 engineers in the field, we've got over 5,500 community partners, and thousands of products developed on and leveraging Niagara. We genuinely are the world's leading IoT platform of choice. It's that framework that delivers operational efficiency, we saw that, and carbon reduction. It improves occupant satisfaction, and it delivers a healthier workplace. And this hasn't been a loud revolution, but a quiet one, driving change one small step at a time, clearly and consistently over decades of product and market development. Now let's take a look at Netix. Formed from a background of building controls, and they use Niagara as the beating heart of the Netix offering. That adds value to their core offer with every single year and after every single project. That clear vision that Sanjeevv was talking about earlier on, of creating smart buildings and smart cities through cutting-edge products and services, that hasn't happened overnight. And you'll recall from Sanjeev's introduction that actually by applying these principles of diligent, hard work, practice, and compounding throughout the business, it's no surprise that Netix has got over 15,000 smart buildings under control. And it's not just about the core cutting-edge technology. You know, as exciting as AI and ML are, and this announcement of a financial model to underpin the growth, it will allow more building owners and operators to take advantage of the Netix solution. But that, again, is no standalone big bang. It's part of a studied journey to create sustainable long-term growth and stimulus for this industry and clearing away another logjam to smart buildings and IoT projects. Now, as I draw this to a close, let me leave you with this. Buckminster Fuller, who's the architect, the philosopher, the futurist, he once said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." Now think, as I think Dustine was saying earlier on, think Uber, think Netflix, think Airbnb. All of these successful companies They built a new paradigm for their customers to engage with, and that, not just the technology, was how they derived success. And that's what Tritium and Netix are doing together. We're redefining new models of technology, of deployment, financing, and execution for smart buildings. It comes through years of patient practice, putting in the hours to master the solution to the problem and allowing the success of past projects to compound the growth and fuel the future. We really are creating magic together. But to completely misquote Mr. Spock's already misquoted line, it's a revolution, but not as you know it. I just want to thank you so much for giving me more than 8.25 seconds of your attention. We can all become overnight successes, but it might just take a bit longer than we expected. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Paul. Lots of thought-provoking things there. One of my favorites has to be, it's not the destination, it's the journey you take to get there. Indeed. Thank you, Paul, so much for that. Great stuff. Now let's move on to our next speaker. I'd like to invite up Mr. Roger Woodward. Roger is a business change and strategy consultant at Netix and brings over 30 years of industry experience. He's going to be talking to you about building management, evolving market, and technology. And I'd like to help me give him a nice round of applause.
Thank you, Em. Yeah, thank you. Great, thanks. A couple of things. First, I'd like to thank Sanjeevv and the Netix team for inviting me along to talk to you. For those of you who are sat at home, spare a thought for the guys in here. You may well be eating whilst you're watching. The only thing between these guys eating and now is me, so I will try and actually go as fast as possible. But I'm going to try and do the impossible, which actually tie Paul's goldfish into AI and machine learning. So give me a chance. And by the way, everybody's done my presentation already, so, bear with me. Okay, so let's move ahead. I would try and talk to you about the building management and the evolving technology because it took about 20 years, 25 years to get a standard protocol going in the industry, so we're not exactly the fastest that's going on. However, I think you'll find that things are changing. Oops, sorry. So I'm going to talk a little bit about unconnected systems, which is the history, the BMS that Sanjeevv was saying is beginning to move on. We're going to talk about, we'll get there in a minute. We're going to talk about the current system with evolving connected systems, what's happening to them, a little bit about the routes to market, and we're also going to talk about perhaps where we're headed and give you an example of what's happening out there and how to best use some of this. As a Q&A, I will be around afterwards if you want to ask me some questions, and please do. I'm sure you've heard a lot of things tonight that you may have some questions about. So let's head into this. Once upon a time, there was the BMS. We've heard about, is it the end? Is it the beginning? Well, actually, it'll still be around because we've still got to actually tie things together. But we had the plant controllers, we had the sensors, the BMS was there. But you actually noticed that the supervisor was in the basement. It had 500 alarms on it that nobody was doing anything with, okay, because it was an electrician who was meant to be looking after the building, or there wasn't anyone qualified to do it, but, the good intent when the thing was put in by the consultant and the solutions providers. And there were a lot of other solutions like fire security, which were not actually tied in. And then off-site, we had maintenance management systems, we had other systems which were running in isolation and siloed. And that was kind of where we were for many, many, many years. Things have changed. We've got that off-prem and off-site situation, but now we got things where, like Niagara, okay, where we're integrating systems. And I'm going to change that word integration shortly. But where we're integrating systems, we're aggregating data, And we're pulling things together, okay? And, you know, we talked about systems with different proprietary protocols. But it also gave us that connectivity, which made us slightly different, gave us better opportunities. But even so, we still ended up with some sort of proprietary situation in the field where people were providing their own systems and not really tying them all together. And you would get the maintenance management company maybe pulling in and tying and making all the comms and stuff related only to what they did. So what's changing and what opportunities are there? Okay, so we've still got the BMS, as I said. It's got to be there. Something's still got to tie all those bits and pieces of HVAC together. But we're seeing some changes with those devices that are in the field. We now have much smarter edge products, and I'm going to come back to edge shortly, but this means we're beginning to get more intelligence in the field that can make decisions. We can deploy intelligence out there on the equipment, as well as actually perhaps connecting directly to the internet. And we've seen since COVID a lot of systems going in and being retrofitted. And they're putting in indoor air quality, they're putting in things like space management, and all sorts of things are going on site, but they're not actually connecting them through to a combined system. But that's beginning to change. And there's a need, obviously, to consolidate that. So the integration that did take place on site is now perhaps taking place off-site. We're obviously getting the use of things like Azure, Google Cloud, and AWS as a platform. It's becoming a de facto standard. This is the way we do it, and anybody who's providing anything needs to sit in on that sort of platform. And now people can easily get access to that through APIs, which are ways of connecting into the cloud to get access to your data. So many people can do it. But you'll actually see underneath, there's those other services. The building automation supervisor is suddenly morphing from site into the cloud. And people are less interested in those kind of sexy graphics. They really want dashboards that tell them what's going on in maybe benchmarking lots of different sites or what's going on with their site much more quickly so they can see the information. But thanks to systems such as Netix Connect, you can embrace all those, and it becomes what's now referred to as an IWMS, an integrated work management solution. And you can actually put on it. It doesn't still stop other people bringing in and getting access to the information. But as you actually saw from Dustine and from Sanjeevv, they offer you a lot of intelligence to actually make decisions, how to fix things, and maybe learn how to actually prevent you having those additional costs of lots of staff having to run to site continually when maybe it only needs one visit. But it's also changing the way projects and things are happening. We got the off-prem and we got the cloud situation, and we need now different areas served by different people. We're tending to think that the system integrator will actually handle the projects of putting the building system in, and he's getting smarter. He's actually, as Paul mentioned, working with Niagara. He's able to actually make it cloud ready and able to serve up the data. And on the other side, we've got the cloud service providers. And over the past 4 years, 3-4 years, I think we've had something like 18 billion poured into service providers off-site. Not all those are going to survive. Some of those are more for the property management than they are in our industry, and I think really that whittles down to about 8 billion on the sorts of things like space management, indoor air quality monitoring, and so on. But there's still a gap you can actually see, and that's being filled by what we call the master system integrator. They don't install the system on the left, and they don't actually provide the services on the right, okay? But they understand both. And what you'll actually find is they almost act as a consultant for the customer to ensure he gets what he wants, because not everybody in between actually manages to do that because they don't understand both sides. So that role is evolving very, very quickly, and they are the necessity these days because not everybody can always do it from end to end. Intelligence sensors through to edge controllers right the way through to deploying Niagara cloud platforms and services. So this is now being a kind of three-step exercise. And there's one other thing which I'll come back to in a minute. But once we got all this, think about all those technologies that are coming along that we can now utilize. Okay, so the other thing that I did say I would change is we used to talk about integration. That's no longer the right word. It should be interoperability. Now we got systems operating together. We can actually make changes, we can do things. Integration infers that we're just pulling data together and presenting it. Interoperability means that, yes, I can get my different systems to interoperate, and I can get them to actually take actions. We're underneath that, we got things such as the analytics, which is writing rules to actually determine what's happening. We've got artificial intelligence, which is actually taking some of those rules, making decisions, okay? And if we're making decisions, perhaps we should be making actions as well as just providing information. We're learning how the building should run. Then you've got another level below that, which is machine learning. Okay, how does my chiller act smarter? And it can be done at different levels, but logically, you might as well actually do it on the chiller with an edge-type controller because you've got the speed where that can be done. And the chiller starts learning how to best run, where it's best efficient, and when it should be coming on and off, and how to load up and down. But that's spread across. And I think beyond the machine learning, we have the apps, how to access some of the data. And people always say to me, hey, you know what, the young guys are really tech smart. They really know about the technology. I'd argue they actually don't. They're absolutely brilliant users of the technology. You can see people on their phones, you can see them on their PCs, you know, they're faster than you'll ever be. All the complexity is still there, but it's underneath. They've made it, the providers have made it easy to actually get access to that data and provide the solutions and use it. So I think it's important that all this still remains behind us, but we need to make it easy for people to access it. And then, of course, we have things like digital twins, which allow you to simulate what would happen if, or maybe if that happens, could I do this? And so you can start doing it before you implement it. And underneath all that, unfortunately, because of the world what it is today, we have to carry cybersecurity all the way across. You know, it's a whole subject on its own, but why you would do it, I have no idea. But, you know, hacking into systems doesn't always make sense other than for your ego. But once you take that model, you then actually look and say, okay, how does this affect the market? Well, traditionally, on the left here, we have our system integrators, our OEMs, our distribution guys, wholesalers. And all that is actually during the construction phase. There is no data. Nothing's happened. Nobody occupies the building. There's no information. We've got to actually prepare to be able to actually serve up the data, but there isn't any. It's not until someone's in the building and it's actually occupied that we actually start to actually get data. And that's where the difference is on the other side, where we actually have got an occupied building. So now we have two different scenarios, and this is the green and brown that Sanjeevv was talking about, and we've got to actually make those work, and some have been installed for years, but the SI is long gone. The actual system that was put in, long gone. Now we've got to actually make that, tailor it, make it more efficient, and by using those services and providing it to the end user who may want to actually interconnect BIM, he may want to do all sorts of things, is a different marketplace, and it's a different customer, because the other side is that construction, mechanical contractors, consultants, and their system integrators, whereas on the other side, it is the occupiers, the facility management guys, and the real estate people. I work with a group of guys in the US where we try to actually help represent this perhaps a little easier. It was on a Monday Live. We do a live blog on Monday evenings. It's during the day there for them. But you can actually see as you go through the stack here, you got the sensors and the information at the bottom. You've got the systems that are there with the I/O modules, the controllers, and the middleware with Niagara and so on in that center with the internet connectivity, the cloud services, and then the SIs, the cloud service providers, and the MSIs. But why are we doing all this? You know, the occupier doesn't do what we do for a living. He doesn't actually need or want access to the information. Someone has to. And it's who wants that. And that's really the energy managers, you know, the FM companies, the maintenance companies, and the real estate guys who want to actually look at making their building better than it is so it becomes attractive. And why do we do it? Okay, what's the reasoning behind having all this stuff? So, you know, people are the main essence of any company. So we want to make the environmental conditions right for them. Nobody wants to turn up to an office where the lighting isn't right or the temperature isn't right. We want the occupants' health and safety to be good. Energy management, you know, and all the other good services you see along. And we said space management, but building uptime, which I'll come back to in a minute. And then building appeal, because the real estate, if I'm a Japanese bank coming to look for a couple of floors in a building, it's a buyer's market, because now I can determine I want good indoor air quality, I want good circadian lighting and all sorts of other things. So it's important that these things are actually built into the building. And a little bit about edge. You know, we've talked about cloud, but edge is something that we actually will be embracing a lot more of. We're going to distribute the intelligence. It's not all going to be in the cloud. There are real instances where you need it. When you actually flick that switch, turn the light on, you don't expect the data to go to the cloud and come back. Or if you actually put your card on a door, you expect it to open straight away. And we've all been here with outages of the services we get from our providers. But the benefits of having edge are really important. You know, if a chiller fails, you want to actually recall that data instantaneously. It is deterministic, which means there's no latency in when you're actually looking at the information and when you get the operation. And, you know, do we actually need to ship every single piece of data to the cloud? You know, there's a hidden cost in that. Just transmitting all that data and the power it absorbs is not actually that good for the planet. So I think, you know, the combination of cloud and edge are perhaps more important to actually give you the whole picture of what the IoT is about. So let me give a quick example. And this is something that was brought out slightly earlier. And I'm going to present it in a different way, but it's what Dustine was talking about. Here's all my services on site, unconnected as it was. And here is my maintenance company. You know, they've got a maintenance management package with all the assets in. And what happens when something goes wrong? Well, nothing for a while till someone starts complaining. They're hot, they're cold, there's a noise. So they call their maintenance company, who then actually say, okay, we'll send someone to site, have a look at it. They issue a works order to someone, their service provider, and they send someone to site to have a look. He goes to site, finds out, yes, it's the chiller. And I tried resetting it, it didn't work. But never mind, I'll call the office and get the chiller guy out. So the chiller guy now comes out. He then goes to site, looks at it and says, it's the oil pump. So what we really need is a fitter now to actually do that. He calls the office, have we got the part or not? Okay, if it's in stores, great. So now we've got to get a fitter. So we've now had 3 visits before the system, before our problem is fixed. And that was the operational efficiency that Sanjeev was talking about. How do you actually get that better? Because the downtime for the building is awful. The customers are hot, they're cold, and they're not very impressed with their service provider. Now let's think about when we actually get that connectivity, maybe through Niagara or other systems, to the cloud. We've still got our assets in there, okay? We've still got all the information we had before, but that connectivity suddenly provides us with a whole lot more opportunity. Okay, so now suddenly we can actually triage the alarm. How important is it? Is it just a block filter? Is it a chiller down? How bad is it? Is it the temp, all one floor, the lighting has gone? Who knows what it is? And we can make decisions. If we do go to site, actually the air handler is due for a service. It needs the filter change even though it's stopped. So we can look at all those conditions, which is say, hey, is it reactive? Is it predictive, condition-based, preventative? Is it a planned maintenance, or do we need, instant site access? But because we actually have got access, not only through, things like analytics and things to determine what the problem is, we actually know it's a carrier chiller 1, 2, 3, it's the oil pump that's gone, and yes, get access through issue the command through to your service provider, who now actually knows he's pointless going to site without the oil pump in the van. He can also gain access from his mobile phone and ensure that it is that, and he knows exactly who's got to go. He, once he's done it, can then actually complete it and actually send us back to the system to complete the projects and the works order. This is the sort of thing that the Netix Connect system will provide to you, which was what Sanjeev and what Dustine were talking about, is actually representing it, showing what can actually be achieved, minimizing the downtime, maximizing the efficiency of the staff, and saving your money. You've now got a fully integrated workflow through your system. And once you're connected, guess what? Look at all those things you can do. Okay, just to highlight a few, we talked about, obviously, the efficiency and for the staff, and also the uptime for the building. We can look at the smarter workforce. We know exactly what we're doing when we get the system. And guess what? Supposing those assets become smarter, supposing it keeps on failing, why not get the manufacturer online to say, can you have a look at your chiller because it keeps failing? Now we've got the best expert in the world who can gain access and tell you what's going wrong. And of course, you can add all those additional services to your site so that it becomes a better environment to live in. So we now talked about edge. We talked about cloud. The brown cloud, the rain's on there is because I'm English. I have to show a little bit of a rain there. But you've now got the connectivity between the two. Once you've got that, you've got the data. We've actually got the analytics, and we've got the AI to start making these things work. But even so, we've been providing that in buildings actually without the connectivity in something. We've been putting kind of information where you've got devices talking to devices. We're talking systems to systems, systems to people, monitoring, collecting, and so on. And actually, none of this makes sense because there's one thing missing. If you don't have the domain knowledge, knowing that the pump's got to come on before the chiller, knowing that the building's got to come up to temperature before people come in, when to actually turn it off, all those things, this just doesn't work. It's only then when you've got the data, the analytics, the AI, and the domain knowledge, which is what these guys have been talking about, that combine to make truly what the IoT is today. And it's only then when you actually get the whole thing to work. I think we're right at the moment at the perfect storm. We've got a generational change with the millennials who have different ways of thinking. They don't want to own anything. They actually want the time, in essence, they want perhaps to be, and that's where the SaaS models come in, and attractive to them. COVID working has meant that now we're suddenly in a hybrid situation with a building that may be empty for 4 days a week. You know, if everybody takes Monday and Friday off and there no Saturday and Sunday is empty, suddenly the building means a different thing, and we've got to look at ways of actually making that work for people. ESG means you've got to have reporting in your accounts every year to actually say what you're doing about sustainability. And there's a whole range of things that you have to do, but what's helping this speed up a little more than anything is home automation. Because when you're at home, guess what? You've got a smart stat. You can turn your lights on, and you can do it remotely. Why can't I do that with my building? And that's what's helping drive this and make it change from that 25 years to adopt just a communication standard to actually adopting the technology that's available today. So time for a change? Well, my recommendation would be, hey, you know, you should reach out and grasp the technology. When? Probably now. It may even be too late, but now. You do always have a choice, okay? But bringing it back to Paul to finish this off, just maybe, you know, this is the thing that differentiates you from everybody else. And there's Paul's goldfish. So, I think really this is all about financial savings, efficiency, you know, costs, as well as conditions for the people who live in the buildings. And that's what we provide as people in this room. That's what our industry is about, is making the environmental conditions efficient but safe and pleasant to work in for the occupants. So, let me ask a question. Connected real-time solutions. How will you change your company to take advantage of what's going on out there today? Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev. If there's any questions later on, please feel free to come and speak to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Roger for that informative and interesting presentation there. Fantastic stuff. Can we give a nice round of applause to all our speakers this evening, please? I think we've learnt a lot. Fantastic stuff. Thank you for being here at Netix.ai, the smart move. It's been a fantastic night. Thank you to the thousands of you joining us online as well. I hope you found it all informative and very interesting. I know we have here. It's been a wonderfully insightful and informative event. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to our live streamers. I hope you've enjoyed the evening. And now it's time for some networking. And we do have a wonderful buffet dinner that's being served outside for you. Thank you so much.